First off, I want to make it very clear that I am not making this because I want the Switch successor to come out later than everyone else. I'm making this because I started to think and do some research, unfortunately. In order to explain, I will have to take you back to the past, starting with the Super Nintendo. The Super Nintendo, or Super Famicom in Japan, was officially demonstrated to the press for the first time on November 21st, 1988. It was again demonstrated on July 28th of 1989 as well. It was then released on November 21st, 1990 in Japan, which happens to be exactly 2 years after the first demonstration. Up next, we will be talking about the 64, or Project Reality, which was its codename before launch. Project Reality was officially announced October of 1993. Even though the concept of the console had been announced in 1993, they didn't show the console's actual design until spring of 1994. Over here in the West, it had been given the name Nintendo Ultra 64, which is a name I'm much more familiar with than the Project Reality one. The console eventually released on June 23rd of 1996 in Japan and September of 1996 in the West. Again, this is over 2 years after the first official mention of the console from Nintendo. The Nintendo GameCube was codenamed Project Dolphin and started development in 1998. The console was then officially announced a year later in 1999. The console then released again 2 years later, this time in 2001 as the GameCube. The Nintendo Wii was formally presented to the public at E3 in 2005. It was codenamed Revolution at the time, which would have been a much better name, but instead of keeping that name, they decided to disappoint the entire world by showing their big white Nintendo Wii in April of 2006. The Wii was then released in September of 2006, which was less than 2 years from the first announcement, but it was still almost a year and a half apart. Project Cafe was the codename for the Wii U, and was first officially mentioned on April of 25th, 2011. The Wii U was a weird one with release dates. For the first time, the West got it first on November 18th of 2012, followed by the PAL region on November of 30th, and then finally Japan got it on December 8th, 2012. The Nintendo Switch, also known as the NX, was the first and only Nintendo console to have less than a year between the day of the announcement and the day of release. It was first announced in an investors meeting in April of 2016, and then it revealed to the public on October 20 of 2016. It was then released on March 3rd of 2017 worldwide. The Switch only released that close to announcement because of the failure that was the Wii U. They needed to let people know that it would be okay since they were working on something much better. I hope you see now where I'm going with all this. Nintendo has not even announced a successor of any kind yet. We don't have an official project name or anything directly from Nintendo. All we have is a bunch of rumors from some decent sources. We're already in February of 2024 and still have nothing official on it. I am not saying it won't be announced this year, since I strongly believe it will, but at this point I think Nintendo is going to pull a Nintendo and not release the next console until next year, maybe even the first half, which seems dumb since they would miss out on the holiday season. I just personally don't see them announcing it in some form, and then immediately a few months later it releases the same year. It hasn't happened once in the history of Nintendo home consoles as far as I could tell. Nintendo could of course do the complete opposite and change history, since they do what they want anyway, so there's no telling. But leave your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below, and this is a topic I'm really interested in getting more thoughts on, since so many people expect it to come out this year no matter what. Have a great day. I'll see you all next time.